All righty.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Live in the Word. We are continuing on through the book of Romans, and we're excited to continue the conversation. I know last week we had a good bit of participation and interaction on the chat live, some just good discussions there, and love the opportunity to continue that here this week. Like we always say, we're going verse through verse or verse by verse through this, and that's just kind of our guidepost. But still, for sure, any questions that you guys might have or any thoughts, any input that you would add, we'd love to field those and just have a discussion around them. So please do chime in with whatever is on your mind. Um, so yeah, we're continuing in Romans chapter 7 here, and last week we were in kind of verses, I think we actually backed up a little bit. We went like verse 6 through 12 or so. We're talking about where Paul is talking about, well, is the law evil then? And of course he says, no, of course not. Said, let's see. Well, verse 7, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? Certainly not. On the contrary, he says, I would not have known sin except through the law. So he's pointing out that the law is actually good. The law revealed to me that what I was doing was wrong. But the downside to that is that it did stoke up this sort of desire to do this. It's literally the big red button that says, do not push. My older brother sent me a picture last week, and it was like a fire hydrant with a hose already attached to it, almost like a firefighter's hose already attached to it. And then this big red valve on the side. He's like, and he literally said, I don't know how long I can resist this. It's like what we've always wanted to do, all of us, just let the fire hydrant blast. And so it's pretty much exactly that picture. It's like this big red button that is screaming, push me, but next to it is a sign that says "Do not push me." So yeah, it's a challenge there, but it's good. It's the love of God really showing us through His law and teaching us this is what's good for you, this is what's not good for you. Don't do this and do this. And some of them can even sound a little bit ridiculous. Like I think you quoted last week, Moses, the law that says you shall not wear two different types of fabric or material at the same time. And initially that just sounds like, okay, this God of yours is ridiculous. He's just coming up with stuff. But, short study of it, you see that there was actually health factors to that and a reason that you couldn't wear those two. Do you know any more about that just off the top of your head,
I
Moses?
don't.
I
Yeah,
don't remember.
everyone thinks because I'm Jewish, but I paid as much attention in Hebrew school as y'all did in CCD. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember studying it at one point, and I just don't remember it because I honestly I thought exactly that. Okay, this is ridiculous. Like God's just playing
yeah,
games with these people now. But
yeah.
in studying it, it was actually a health factor. Something about the interaction between the two fabrics would probably cause a rash of some sort or something like
Yeah.
that. So
A lot
it
of
was.
these laws were they do seem silly to us now,
Mhm.
but a lot of them were just to distinguish them from other people,
True. Yeah.
make them different, like easily identifiable. Like they would have a different, I mean, because you can look at if you look at a dude from Israel and you look at a dude from Egypt, like just physically, they would kind of look similar. So
Hmm.
to make them, they have to act it. They need a different culture.
Yeah.
So a lot of them were just to distinguish between the nations. And then also human flourishing was at the basis of all of it too. Like I've said this before, like we're going to get along better if you don't steal my things.
Hmm.
So it seems kind of foolish to even have to have that law, but it makes sense.
Oh yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. It's good. So, I mean, we're going to continue on here, and I think I'll start on verse 12 here. We're in Romans chapter 7, verse 12, and I'll just go there just to back us up a little bit, and then we'll continue on. So I'm reading the New King James Version here. He says, "Therefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just and good." Verse 13, "Has then what is good become death to me? Certainly not. But sin, that it might appear sin, was producing death in me through what is good, so that sin through the commandment might become exceedingly sinful. So it's like this law is showing him where this sin didn't used to feel all that bad or didn't used to really bother him that much. And I'm sure you guys have probably got those in your own lives that just early on as a Christian, it was like, yeah, this probably ain't that big a deal. Now you're like, I can't even imagine going there or doing that. Um, so let's see.
Can I share something about that real quick?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I didn't grow up in church, and um, pornography was just seen as a phase of life. So like looking
Hmm.
at magazines nowadays, you have phones and stuff like that. But until after I got saved, I didn't realize that, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. That's not good. So I just wanted to give a real world example of,
Hmm.
I didn't know that. I just thought that's what you do. As you get older, you engage in those
Phase
things.
of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh, great. I'm committing adultery. I'm all kinds of things before marriage, and uh,
Yeah.
so that was something I wanted to share. Just sticks out, real world application.
Yeah. And I'd come alongside that and say, from someone who used to watch it I used to sell it for a living. It was just like a big part of my life. First of all, it has scarred me. Like I can't get rid of the memories, which is just awful. Because then you do feel like you're cheating on your wife, even though you're not doing anything. You still, you know what I'm saying? It just you kind of feel bad about it. But it also it it is for flourishing because it poisons you and it makes. I mean, it cheapens women, right? They're just objects to be thrown around.
Hmm.
So it ruins your perspective. So it's again, it's not just don't do it. It's naughty. Like that's entry level. The real problem is that it actually does break you.
Hmm.
So it really works against flourishing. Like it can mess up your marriage, even if you're not watching it anymore. It can mess up your marriage because it can devalue your wife in your mind. Because if you watch the women get just abused and thrown away and treated like garbage, you can start thinking that that's the way you treat women. And to be honest with you, that is what I thought. I mean, the idea of respecting someone was just like totally not even in my world.
Hmm.
So it is about human flourishing. It is fun to watch. It's enjoyable, but it's so momentary. But the long lasting effects is that it can trash relationships and ruin and skew your mind on how to properly view things. And so, when you talk about that men and women are made in the image of God, if you think of all women as the women in porn, you don't view them as image bearers of God. You think of them as second class. They're just toys to be played with and thrown away. That's the carnal mind.
Yeah.
That's what we think. And it just seems harmless,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
not.
And I've heard, not too long ago, actually, probably 6 months or 8 months ago, it was just a marriage study on the radio. And they were talking about how it literally changes your behavior. And they've done studies on it, how it changes your brain, like literally the chemical makeup of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so the massive uh, just impacts that it has on not just your guilt, your conscience, and like, oh, I shouldn't do that. I know that, but literally how much it changes you, um, mentally, physiologically, everything. It's crazy what these studies can show. So it's, man, talk about poison. Like, that's every bit as harmful to your body, just your, let's even just say your body alone, that is just as harmful as alcohol or meth, or it just doesn't feel like it initially, and it's something you can hide for a while, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just, man, what a disaster, what a poison. So yeah. Oof. But yeah, like you're saying, Tanner, that's a great illustration of it. Just that, like, you're going along and initially you don't even know it's wrong, much less feel conviction for it. And then complete flip. You become a Christian and you become privy to the law and to God's desires, really. And now you not only feel guilty for it, you can't even think of it. You can't even fathom that, So it's just the complete like switch from, can't see my hand because of crapping this end of the spectrum to this end of the spectrum. It's like, man, what a change. So,
and it's addictive, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean, I'm sure you guys get stuff. I get stuff all the time. Just like random stuff into your like junk mailbox, and stuff's coming on Telegram now and on Messenger. Like, I mean, and I get things that I can't be graphic online because it would be funny, but I can't say it. But I get things that are sexual in nature that I definitely don't want or need, and my wife and I joke about it. But like, if you're erasing them and you hit it and you don't erase it, it comes on. It'll come on and it'll just start, or you just open some up and it's just so. Like, for instance, I do videos at church. So you have to do a video, like you have to do a YouTube downloader. When you click the download, a lot of those free download sites they'll pop porn up instantly. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there with my wife, like my kid there the other day, and all of a sudden this porno stuff comes, it's like, whoa. So it's just everywhere. And so that's the thing, it's so sinister and it's so addictive. Like, and it was a couple of months ago, like, I did that, and one of them came out, and I literally, I have to admit it. I might as well admit it. Why not? I started watching it for like 30 seconds. I was like intoxicated. It was like I was right there again. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, then Jesus kicks in. It's like, what am I doing? That is so awful. I'm sorry, Lord. And that was it. But I mean, I did. It was there. I mean, there it is. Boom. I'm a man, right? Boom. And I was watching it, and I was like, it was like, and my flesh, of course, likes it. But then I can't, this is awful. So you need to turn it off. But it's like, it's that quick. I'm just saying, like, and I haven't watched in years, and all of a sudden, whammo, there it is, like in my face, and it grabs you, and you gotta fight it. You gotta,
even social media. So like, before we left Indiana, there was one of the kids that we wanted to stay in touch with, and he had Snapchat. Well, I didn't have Snapchat, so I set up an account so I could just talk to him. And just from setting up an account, all of the first things that you see, it's all porn. You have to go and ignore it, say I'm not interested. Even on Instagram, I know TikTok is this way too. Even on Instagram, when I first got into Instagram, it took months of, if I try to search something, all it brings up is just all these bikini, half naked, pornographic things. And the only way I could get out of it is you have to go into it and say not interested for months before it even starts realizing your trend. Oh, I guess you don't want this. Of course I don't.
Yeah.
So
that's honestly why I took all the social media stuff off my phone. Mostly, more primarily because I actually I started sensing like this anxiety in me almost, and I think part of it was being caused from not even necessarily bad videos. Like, most of what I was seeing was construction videos and how to frame this and how to do this or whatever.
They were all naked. I couldn't resist. Naked carpentry.
Yeah. Oh, geez. It was just the nature of the 7-second video, and then the next 7-second video, and then the next 7 seconds. It's like, man, what are we training our brains for here? Like, talk about microwave society. And I was like, I can't do it anymore. It's I don't have any of it on my phone. It's just too easy to shut your brain off. And I was just seeing, kind of like porn, just seeing the negative results of it just psychologically. And I'm like, this is not good for me. I'm training myself to be minimally effective here in life. So I just had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
got it. Well, what I noticed here, getting back to the text, is that like it's a little different than New Living and the New King James, but it's it's similar. But like, how can it be? Did the law cause my death? Of course not. So sin used what was good, like it used the law to bring about my condemnation to death. It was almost like the law just made me aware of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's worth mentioning, like, in the Church of Jesus Christ worldwide, there's always this ongoing discussion, debate, whatever you want to call it, of God's laws, the Old Testament, grace, the New Testament, and how to balance the two. Like, what are we supposed to do? I mean, because we can't say that the law is like just null and void and we don't care about that anymore. It's done and gone and all that, because it's not. It's to be viewed probably a bit differently now, of course, because Jesus came and did some incredible work. And so the whole idea here, I think, is rightly viewing the law, rightly handling the law. Like, what are we supposed to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I don't think anyone would say, well, thou shalt not kill doesn't count anymore. You can kill whoever you want. Like,
Yeah.
This is Jesus. No one would say that. But they would say that about some of the other laws. And so I think it's just healthy as we're going through this, is like, I think this would help, although I still don't understand all of it either. I think this helps with what to do with the law and how to apply Jesus to the law to Jesus, and how to navigate through that tension between God's laws and God's grace, and how to handle all that. And I think, I think Paul is helping with that.
Yeah.
So it's not that God didn't need the law to make us sinful. We're born that way. But what the law did do is help us notice it.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Right. And I mean, I don't know. I guess what I think I'm seeing Paul say here is that it does. This is probably, again, right back to what you're saying, that it's first and foremost in our sin nature, but that the law, knowing that it's wrong, does simply make it more enticing, and that's
absolutely
another product of our sin nature. It's like, oh, okay,
that's what he's going to go on to say. I think
right.
He's about to, as we get into this next section where we really jump into it, he's going to describe that.
Yeah, yeah,
just that.
But I would say, I just real quickly, in regards to what we were saying about, the laws and grace and the New Testament. And I mean, Jesus says, not an ounce of my law will pass away. And I think the big thing is, as always, the heart behind it. And that's what the disciples kept missing. They kept missing the point and the heart behind it. That's what the Pharisees and the Sadducees totally did. They had it memorized and were living up to most of it, including Paul himself, but obviously having missed the complete heart of it. So even just the question of, thou shalt not kill, okay, that's Old Testament, so I guess that doesn't apply. Well, okay, let's think of the heart of that law. That the heart of that law was you loving other people loving you, and God loving you. And then let's look at less extreme laws. Don't wear two different types of fabric together. Okay, the heart of that law was God loving you, right? Mm-hmm. So it's in that sense, God's love for you and God's desire for you to love other people does not pass away. Therefore, yeah, maybe the specific letter of those laws, like, it's okay, I'm wearing whatever the shirt is made of and I got jeans on, and I think I'm okay. But it's still just knowing the heart of it behind all of it. So I just feel like that even getting into that debate anymore is just, I feel like we're the Pharisees versus the Sadducees doing that. We're just still missing the point. Mm-hmm. If Jesus were here, you'd say, how long do I have to be with you guys for you guys to get this?
Mm-hmm. He actually quotes that in John chapter 7. It's in red when they're debating between getting circumcised and the Sabbath. And when the day of circumcision falls on the Sabbath, you'll choose one of them. So you're actually going to break one to do the other, right?
Right.
And Jesus actually says in verse 24, he says, look beneath the surface so you can judge correctly.
Right.
It's really about the heart of the matter all the time.
Right.
Why is God doing this? That's what I mean, at the end of the day, that's what the law is for. Like, search why. And when you come to find out he's doing it because he loves you, he's doing, like the Sabbath. He even said it, like, you were not made for the Sabbath. The Sabbath was made for you.
Yep.
So the whole point is, I want to give you a day where you can rest from your labors, so you can be refreshed, so you and I can hang out together and form our relationship. Like, that's the Sabbath. It wasn't just, to be strict so that you can't do anything. You don't drive, don't this.
Right.
It's about helping you.
Yep. There's a to do good on the Sabbath. I'm just trying to find this verse, Mark 3:4, maybe.
Is it wrong to do good on the Sabbath? Are you blaming me for healing this man?
Right.
Yeah.
And I often, honestly, and this is just, I think, an example for all of you out there, that because I still I still love me some legalism, because I love laws to keep and try and keep up with it. It's kind of, I can easily slip back into that. But this was when I think Jesus healed on the Sabbath. And of course, the Pharisees then are trying to catch him in that. And then I think this is the one where he uses the example of when David took the showbread, basically, and used that to eat. And Jesus ultimately says, yeah, is it wrong to do good on the Sabbath? And I think even this past Saturday, I had to quote that to myself, because I just, like, we've been pretty adamant for the past few years about taking a true Sabbath. And we use Saturdays for our Sabbath because on a lot of Sundays out of the year, I'm serving on the team at the church, and that's not restful at all. So I've found that Saturdays just work well for me to do a Sabbath. So for the past few years, we've really been trying to stick to that, and it's such a blessing when we do, and we actually just rest, and I get to sit out on the back deck and read for an hour or something, and we take the whole day. But sometimes I'm like, Jamie wants me to wash the dishes, but it's a Sabbath, and I like back into the legalism, and I'm like, nope. Is it wrong to do good on the Sabbath? No, it's not wrong to bless my wife on the Sabbath, so I'm gonna go do the dishes.
Yeah.
So just a practical application of that, where we can easily slip into the law and legalism here, but don't miss the heart behind it.
I know that the New Living is kind of a thought for thought, but when they're talking in that section, I do believe he says doing your normal work. And I know that's not original text, but I think it makes the point. It's okay to do work, like if I'm, like you said, to go help someone. Like if there's an old lady across the street that can't mow her lawn, and you're a carpenter, you labor all day. I got to go labor. Well, yeah. It's okay. It's not your normal work. Your normal work is to go build something at her house, charge her your normal rate. You know what I mean? It's different. Even if you're a lawn guy, I'm going to venture to say that even if you're a lawn guy, to go over there on your Sabbath day and cut the old lady's grass and just do it for free because you love, you want to represent Jesus well, I don't think that's your normal work either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just my opinion. Maybe others would differ from that, but I agree with you. It's Jesus said it's good to do the good work on that day. It's not about just sitting still going, I'm Sabbathing. Don't talk to me. I'm not moving.
Totally.
He healed the guy and told him to pick up his mat on Sabbath, and the religious guys are like, he picked up his mat. That's work. You're a heathen.
Yep.
And Jesus is like, really? You didn't see what I just did? What about that? And they're like, no, you picked up the mat. Who told you to do that?
Yeah. Well,
like, that big point is right over their head.
And the big thing is that he intentionally did it then, knowing they were going to call him out for doing it,
make the point,
so that he could make the point and teach them the heart behind why that, again, man was not made for the Sabbath, but Sabbath for the man. And so it's Yeah, just important to know the heart behind it, to know God really, because if you don't know God, if you're not abiding in him, then you're not going to know the heart, know his heart. All right, you guys ready to continue on here? Any other thoughts before we do? Then let's see. Let's look at 13 again. Has then what is good become death to me? Certainly not. But sin, that it might appear sin, was producing death in me through what is good, so that sin through the commandment might become exceedingly sinful. Verse 14. And for anybody who's jumped on recently, we're in Romans chapter 7, verse 14. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. So let's talk about that for a second. I just like that term, like, oh, he's spiritual, you know, like, but here, obviously, he means that this law is of the Spirit. It's born of God's Spirit. In contrast to what he says, I am carnal, sold under sin, meaning I live out of my flesh. And I think it was, what's today's date? Is today the 20th?
Yep.
Can't remember if yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So it was
20.
this morning that I wrote in my journal. I said, Lord, I can't help but notice right now the extreme difference between my flesh and my spirit right now, as my flesh wants to sulk and feel sorry for myself, whereas my spirit, and this was funny, this is like a funny picture to me. It's like, I'm like, man, do I have like multiple personality syndrome right now or what? Because my flesh this morning, as I was journaling, was like just so wanting to just sulk and feel sorry for myself. And I had the song, I'm so blessed, stuck in my head. I'm like, stop singing that.
Life is bad.
Yeah, it's literally like my spirit singing that song and my flesh singing this poor, pitiful, depressed song at the same time. And I'm like, if this isn't the clearest picture of the spirit versus the flesh, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I was like, man, I might have to go to a mental institute soon.
No, I think you're actually normal.
It's like,
that's normal. And you're going to read it. This section is going to tell you you're normal.
Yeah. It just was never so abundantly apparent. Like, wow, I can literally hear both voices at the same time right now.
Is it in Galatians where it says that you like, we've talked about this a lot recently about how when we get saved, we get that new, Holy Spirit nature, the nature of Christ in us. And it'd be great if we were just like, whoop, all right, now we're going to be great. Everyone going to be in a good mood. Everything's going to go well. And be godly all the time. Everything's going to be great. But it's not like that. And the Bible is clear in Galatians that, that new nature is added to the one you already have. Right. And now the process is purge out the old and increase the new. Yeah. So you become more like your creator, but you're born somewhat like him. When you get saved, you're more like him, but then you're getting sanctified and becoming more and more and more and more till at the end you're going to be fully, Christ-like in glory. But there's the two natures, and they're always at war. They're constantly at war, and you want to do bad. That's the I hate to go back, but on 13 it talks about how God's good commands were used for evil purposes, and it's like, if anyone thinks that they're like abnormal, don't be. Think about it. Like, think of the good things that God does, and then like he gives us food. Everybody loves food, so what do? We're gluttons. He gives us drink. It's okay to have a glass of wine, so we go out and get hammered. Sex is fantastic, so we have sex with everyone instead of being with one woman or one man for the rest of your life. So we take what's good, and our sin nature destroys these things that are good. God's law, good. We destroy it. Yeah. That's just, we sin, this disgusting nature inside of us that when we're born with it, it takes good things and trashes it. And so here comes God, and he's like, okay, I'm going to put my Holy Spirit in you, and it's going to help you to be able to say no to this, your norm, your default. It's going to help you say no to your default and start saying yes to the new way. And it's a process. So anyone who would be watching, like, man, I quit drinking and smoking in one day, but I didn't stop cussing in one day, and I didn't stop, lusting in one day. Those things have gotten way better, but they didn't happen the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Everyone's walking a different thing, and so what I struggle with, you might find easy.
Mm-hmm.
What you struggle with, I can go, what's wrong with that guy?
Yep.
Why can't he get it? Everyone's on a different road, man.
Yep. Amen. And who will deliver me from this body of death? Thank God, Jesus Christ our Lord. It's like,
Yeah,
there's our hope.
I really, I
get
like that, but reading the New King James was different for me than any other time I've read it in my normal translation. It really was different for me. What I don't know. I don't want to jump ahead.
Well, let's see, verse 14. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. Verse 15.
Slave, right? Sold.
Yep.
You look it up. It's literally being sold as a slave.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good translation there.
Yep.
Sold, like I'm owned
by it. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, the NIV 1984, it says sold as a slave to sin, whereas ESV just says sold under sin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that, sold as a slave to sin. Breaks it down.
Yeah.
It's like that sin is purchasing you literally and now owns you.
Yep.
And I think back to the illustration you gave earlier, Tanner, with with porn, and like I wonder if at that time it became even more enticing because now it's wrong. It's like before it just was kind of perhaps it was like you said, in those days it was considered he's going through the phase, like it's just part of life. But then when you become a Christian and you realize how wrong it is, then suddenly it's way more enticing, and it's not just a phase. It's like it can easily become a true addiction.
Yeah.
It's just, man. Verse 15 then, for what I am doing, I do not understand. For what I will to do, or I want to do, that I do not practice. But what I hate, that I do. So here's the big inner turmoil and the big inner battle. He says, what I am doing, I do not understand. And that the picture that comes to mind is Jesus on the cross. Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It's like the sin that you're doing there, perhaps you don't even realize how sinful and hurtful it is. And not to keep beating the dead horse of porn, but like you said, initially you don't even realize it's bad. But then when you do, you start to see, boy, I'm like literally objectifying humans here. And I mean, what a disaster.
Can I give another real world example on that one? Just kind of being, I do not know what I'm doing. So, not super early on, but there's when Nicole and I got married, church down the road, we were serving in, and I was playing guitar in the youth, and it was Assemblies of God church, so it would do spirit led at times, and I didn't know where the guy leading. I was playing lead guitar, and I didn't know where the guy leading on acoustic was going, but I could watch from the back of his hand. I knew what chord he was playing, and I could hear it obviously, but I knew where he was going from that. So I was watching his hand, and I'm going and I'm playing along. And after about 5 minutes of just going through and just watching his hand, I realized there's these four girls in the front row that are singing, and they're just kind of doing this and doing that. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Why are they doing that? Oh, it looks like I'm staring at them the whole time. And it's like, so then I became, oh crap. What do I'll just try and figure this out by ear, and we'll just go on from there. It's like I was totally blind to what the opticals of the situation were. I wasn't trying anything. I was like, where's this guy going? Because he wasn't playing the chords in the same normal fashion. He was all over the place. So I was like, once that happened, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm such an idiot. And then it's like, I didn't know what I was doing, so there wasn't
Yeah.
really a sin situation, but I just thought it might help illustrate that point a little more. You know?
Yeah.
It happens. I think with Paul, his is more like, I know what I'm doing. I just can't figure out why the heck I keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like the thing I hate, I'm doing. The thing I know I should do, I'm not. Like, I don't understand. Like, what the heck is wrong with you, Paul? I can almost hear him saying, like, what the heck is wrong with you, dude? Why am I doing this? And I mean, we all do it, right? We all do that on occasion. Like, why? You know, you do something stupid again and again, and you're just like, and sometimes I'm not even talking about sin stuff. I'm just talking about like every time I go to church on Sunday, I always forget something. I walk back in the house, I drive back over, and my wife always yells, "What'd you forget?" You know, I always do, and I get so aggravated. You know, it's like, dude, you've been going down there every day for the last 2 years. Like you know what you need to bring. Like, why do you forget the mouse? Why do you forget the mic? Why do you know whatever? It's like, oh, why? And I don't understand why I do the things that I do, but I keep doing them. And so I feel for the dude. He just doesn't get it. Like, why? I met Jesus. I'm saved. I know better. You know, like, why? And I think we can all relate to that.
Right when you explain that, sorry to interrupt, Kyle. Right when you explain that, I got this picture in my mind. Is I wonder if we do that. There's a component to that of our habits, our habitual routines. So when you get addicted to something, like say smoking, to the hardest part I've heard to break smoking cigarettes is the routine of you grab the cigarette after you eat, you get the cigarette, you go out to have a smoke, or you have a drink after, or whatever, you have a cigar, whatever it might be. So I wonder if there's a component of like my life. I didn't realize pornography was a bad thing. Then I got saved. I'm like, oh no, this is bad, and I've been on this long progression of getting through that. I wonder if there's a return to that because there's a habitual uh, routine in our mind that we're going through something. This helps me get through it, and without thinking about it, we just revert to that. You know?
I think you're right. Look at the word he uses: practice.
Yeah.
We've practiced it. We've done it so many times.
Yeah.
You know. So now I know better, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore. Here I am again, Lord. What the heck? You're like, why am I doing this? Why? Because you practiced it.
The best illustration I've heard for that to help explain it is that the neural pathways in your brain are literally like a path through the woods. And if you see a path in the woods that has been traveled thousands, hundreds of thousands of times for years, decades, century even, that path is so well worn in that if you stop walking that path today, if nobody walks that path today, it's not going to look any different. And they're going to have to stop walking that path for 20 years for that path to totally grow over and be non-existent as if it were never there. And perhaps even longer. And so the neural pathways in our brain are the exact same way. The more that we've walked that pathway, the more worn in it is. And therefore, the longer you're going to have to not walk that pathway in order for it to totally disappear. So, yeah, I just think of the scripture as a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool returns to its folly. And we literally are kind of like Pavlov's dog. Like you hear the bell and you go, and you're just triggered. I'll say just recently we're working with our oldest daughter just on some kind of emotional intelligence and growth, and she's 10, so it would be easy to chalk it up to just hormones and like she's starting to change and whatever. But there are days, and she's a lot like me, and knowing that I myself have wrestled with a lot of depression tendencies and sadness tendencies, and realizing at one point that I was actually addicted to sadness. Like I liked the feeling of sadness. It had become a safe emotion for me. So she has even just spoken recently and said, yeah, but sometimes I like feeling sad. And so it's like, okay, yeah, I think just like we're talking about here, why do we like the thing that we know that is bad for us? And I'll just caveat that with too, some sadness is good, and this is what I've been teaching her is like God can put a sadness in our heart for something that is breaking his heart so that he moves us in that direction. So, not all sadness is bad, but I think in a lot of cases, we're just being tempted either in our flesh or spiritually from the enemy to feel sad for no reason. And to go sin for no reason and to keep arguing with my wife, even though I know it's bad and it still just produces a bad result, or to go back to whatever the sin is, So it's there's a lot of elements in it. It can be your flesh, it can be the enemy, or it can even be God. Not on the sin aspect, of course, but just in some cases there.
Great.
All right, so just we'll kind of walk step by step through verse 15 here. For what I am doing, I do not understand. Like you said, Moses, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep shooting myself in the foot? It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
For what I will to do, that I do not practice. So he's saying, I want to do what is good and right, but I don't.
And I think that the path is kind of a cool illustration too, because for what I will to do, like the thing I know that God wants me to do, I should practice that because then I can get better at it. Big Mike, rest his soul, love the guy. He used to talk about the spiritual muscle all the time. Keep saying yes to God a little bit stronger. Yes to God a little bit stronger. Yes to God a lot stronger. And you get stronger and stronger. And all of a sudden now you're stronger spiritually and you can say no to sin a lot easier. So that word practice, I think, is massively important, right? Not perfection, but practicing toward it.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yep.
Because I think a lot of people can feel condemnation if they fail after this broadcast is over tonight. If they fail, they're going to be like, oh, crap, there. See, I do suck. No. Practice, not perfection. Perfection comes when Paul says, who's going to save me from this life of sin and death? Yet Jesus. When you're with him in heaven, it'll be over.
Yep.
You'll only have one nature then. But until then, you got two. You got to practice the good one. Yep. Practice what he tells you. Obey, 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 obey as best you can. Yep. Repent when you fail. Move on.
And we all... Go ahead, Tim.
Oh, my bad. I was going to say, I know I don't look it now, but I used to do sports a lot when I was younger. And it was always...
Now you just look sexy.
Do what?
I said, now you just look sexy.
Yes, it's the facial hair. But I always learned and was taught that professionals don't practice at something until they get it. They practice at it until they don't get it wrong. So, like, if you're Larry Bird shooting free throws, he would shoot so many free throws, not until he finally got one, but until he didn't miss. So, reading that I do not practice and talking about practicing, it makes me think of that is we should be like a professional athlete where we don't just practice not sinning until, yay, I didn't sin today, I got it, I've got it down. We should practice it until we continually do not sin and don't get it wrong, so to speak. So,
Amen.
Yeah,
and hey, thanks for using Larry Bird. That was awesome.
And we all know the saying, practice makes perfect, but they've proven that that's not true. It's practice makes permanent. And that's really the thing. Perfect practice makes perfect, but none of us are perfect at practicing. And so it's the more accurate saying is that practice makes permanent. And that's what we're talking about here, that the more you practice, the more you're going to wear in that pathway, the more you're going to train your brain toward that. And it's going to be a more well-worn path, and you can easily walk it. And it's like, of course I go this way. This is the way, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see.
It seems a little confusing, but
for what I will to do that I do not practice, but what I hate that I do. Now that's, I mean, that would totally seem like, just, what do they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. It's like, this is the thing that you hate to do, but you keep doing it. But I'll say, you know, as somebody having conquered the porn addiction years ago, it's like, it's just that practice, you know, the thing that you hate, and while you're in the midst of it, you know you hate this, but then the Lord starts to give you victory, and you practice that victory, and you keep going in that direction, and then before you know it, you're like, man, it's been years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You just
And then you don't even think about it anymore.
doesn't ever even
That's the
cross
key.
your mind. Yep.
Get it out of your mind.
Yep. To the point where you can have discussions about it and not be tempted by it. It's like, you know.
Now these discussions are actually, I feel like they're helping.
Fruitful, right. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. But what I hate that I do, verse 16, if then I do what I will not to do, or what I don't want to do, I agree with the law that it is good. So, yeah, let's look at that again. Verse 16. If then I do what I don't want to do, I'm just sort of paraphrasing here, I agree with the law that it is good. What do you think?
Well, the New Living says, but if I know what I'm doing is wrong, this shows that I agree that the law is good. I think that helps.
So meaning, ultimately, the point being just, I know that it's wrong.
Right.
Therefore, the law.
So when the law says it's wrong, my sinful nature thinks I don't care. But if I put it in the category of wrong, then I'm saying, oh, the law is right.
Right.
I'm still doing it, but I hate it. It's bothering me. It's like eating away at my conscience. So that's the first step, right? That's what God really wants, is to get your conscience on board. Because now we're working towards the right thing. You got to hate it first before you're going to stop doing it.
Right. Yep.
Right. And you got to love it before you start doing it.
Yep.
And so what Paul is saying, I believe, is that if I put this thing in the I hate it category, then it must mean that the law is right. You know, the law is right. Murder's such a bad one because everyone thinks that's bad.
Extreme, right?
I mean, whatever. I don't know. Greed. You know, because, you know, we all watched Wall Street growing up, you know, Gordon Gekko. Greed is good, you know. And in America, it is, because it's capitalism and we want to make money and all that stuff. And we're taught that it's kind of good. We wouldn't say it out loud, but it's good. But, like, it's not good. And pride is not good. And humility is good. And those are not American things, you know. In America, it's like, pride, American pride. So, like, but when we start to shift, when pride, which is encouraged as a kid, you know, take pride in what you're doing and you're great and you can do anything you want to set your mind to and all those things. You know, when you start to realize that that's not really what God says and it changes in your mind, that's step one. All right. You got to get your mind changed so that your life will change. And so I'm taking it this way, is that Paul's saying when the thing that I used to think was awesome, now I realize it's not awesome, it dawned on me, oh yeah, I guess the law is right.
Right.
I mean, that's just, I don't know what you all think, but that's how I saw it.
Yep, I would agree. Tanner, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, up in 13, I'm going to go to the ESV because I think this kind of reads a little clearer, even though it's translating in the same way. Did that which is good then bring death to me? By no means. It was sin producing death in me. through what is good, in order that sin might be shown to be sin. So I think Paul's doing what Paul does and restating the same thing, where that if I do what I do not, in verse 16, if I do what I do not want, I agree with the law that it is good. So I think the good here, the way I'm seeing it, is the law is good because it's revealing that sin in me. And when I'm doing what I don't want to do and I hate it, then I think you said this in a different way, Moses, that does mean that the law is good, because it's confirming that the law is revealing that sin, and that sin is I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made any sense, or
And
it's just showing that he's changed his mind.
Right.
He's viewing things differently now.
Yeah, and that God has changed his mind, because again, we think back to when like the sin, in fact, even in a place of just thinking like, I don't want your God, he's got a bunch of rules that I don't want to follow, those rules are bad for me, it's like now I'm total flip-flop in a place of, now I realize, oh, those laws are actually good for me. I love your God because he loves me. So, yeah, let's see. 16, law that is good. Verse 17. But now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. So is he blame shifting here?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I read this a couple of years ago. It kind of floored me. And I don't even know if my theology's right. I'm just going to go right out there and tell you that I'm probably wrong about this whole thing. But you know, it always says that the flesh is where the sin is, the flesh. But it's almost like he's saying here, it's almost like sin has its own identity. Because he's saying it's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, but I would say that when we say flesh, we're in that connotation, flesh and sin are almost interchangeable.
Yeah, it's like your flesh is your sin nature.
Right.
I was getting ready to say that sin nature, not sin as
it's just crazy though. He's like, it's not me doing it.
Yeah.
And what's very apparent in the New King James, which is not as apparent in the New Living, is the battle between his mind, will, and his hands, if you will, his flesh, which is, he says it's like it's controlled by sin, my flesh. So in my mind, I got the spirit in me telling me yes and no, right and wrong, but it's not getting from here to here, and they're fighting with each other, and that, again, that references us back over to Galatians, where he'll say that later on, that, like I mentioned earlier, there's just this battle going on, and it's never ending. And we're supposed to be progressing and getting better with our spiritual muscle, getting stronger. That's why we fast too, right? To starve the flesh, and so that it gets weaker and your spirit man can get stronger and start to win the fight more. But it's a fight. And I think everyone needs to know that Christianity does mean perfection, in that its leader was perfect, in that its future is perfect. But Christianity in the present is not perfect. But it is something that, like we said, is to be practiced and progressing and perfecting, but not perfect yet. The only time it will be is when we're with him in glory.
Yeah.
That's not permission to sin.
Yeah.
Because of course he's already addressed that, right? In 6:1, like, okay, well then great, then I can sin. No. Yeah. It's not permission slip. It's just reality that there's this battle going on. And he's acknowledging it. And this is the great apostle Paul, who had this vision and experience audibly and visually with the living Christ, the resurrected Christ. He wrote half the New Testament. Like, this is like the guy. And he's admitting, like, we're all in process here. And I'm right there with you, so I think that's just helpful. Not permission slip, but acknowledging that we're in this.
I would want to share to verse 17. I remember a time where I was struggling with a flesh moment, a sin, and it was battling to not give into that, and it seemed like that flesh. I remember it was like the flesh just took over, and it's like it had to finish its sin, and then at the end of it, I'm like, what am I doing? And then it's over with, and now I've got control back again, and um, I feel that is what 17 is saying, where it's that battle where there are those moments, and the more mature you get, the fewer and far between they are, but it's that battle of what the heck am I doing? It's like I'm standing back and my flesh just popped my soul out for a little bit so it can do its thing, and then okay, I'm done. You get back in again, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want any part of that. Why did I just go through this? And I think that's what, at least how my mind reconciles 17 of.
Totally.
So.
Did you guys ever, I don't know if you even remember doing this, but just the picture that came to mind, Moses, when you were saying like, it's here and it's the battle is happening here, and I know not to do it, but it's not getting to my hands. And the picture that came to mind reminded me of just as a kid, if you guys ever remember having a scab somewhere, like a cut, and the scab is just calling your name to pull that thing off. Just like, don't do it. Don't do it. I know this is going to hurt for a second, but it's so satisfying. And so you do it. It hurts like crazy for a second. And it's just literally.
And you got to redo the whole thing.
Right. And you're like, I got to leave this scab. It's good for me. It needs to stay there. Nope, I got to rip it off. It's like so enticing, and it hurts like crazy when you rip it off, and it's just the immediate result of it. But it's just that image of.
Yeah. And then you're there like, Paul, I don't understand. Why did I just do that?
Yeah.
The last 3 times I did it, it was the same. It still hurts. Yeah. Why am I doing this again? I'm an idiot. Like, what's wrong with you? I don't get it, dude.
I have a side comment on that. It's totally unrelated, but Joshy had fallen, and we went out to the beach, and he fell and hit a rock under the water, and it scraped up his knee really, really bad. And it was scabbing over. And we were driving in the car like several days later, and he's like, I've got a rock under my skin in my knee. It's like, I got a rock in there. I'm like, okay, did it heal over a little bit of sand or something? And I go back and look at it, and it was a scab. He was just like peeling, because it hardens up, and it
right.
looks like a rock in there. And he's like peeling it off, and I'm like, oh, let me grab that. And I poke it, and he's like,
why don't you do that, Dad? That's funny.
It's like this beast inside of you, you know?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
It's like they say that I don't feed the monster, and that's exactly what it is. He's like, it's almost like Paul is giving this sin nature, this sin thing in you, its own identity. Mm-hmm. It's like this monster it's like the movie Alien, you know, when the alien comes, it's like that's the thing that's in you.
Yeah.
It's this thing that's inside, and it's like it owns you, and it's just doing its own thing, and you got to learn to beat it down and make it, you know, to overrule this thing, and it keeps Tanner, like he said, it just comes out. There it is, you know, and like, whoa. Do you ever you know, say something to someone, you know, on behalf of the Lord, and you're like, man, where did that come from? That's not normally like me, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it's that. But it's the opposite. You know, it's the same thing. Like, here you are, and all of a sudden you just act away. You just do a thing, and it's like, what are you doing? You know? It's the same thing. Like, where did that come from? It's the sin monster.
Well, isn't it
the sin alien in me?
I beat my flesh into submission. Like, I just was thinking that last night, where I'm like, all right, I know it's time for me to work out, to go down in the basement and work out, but I really don't want to. And so I'm like, nope, darn it, I'm going to do it. And it just feels like that same thing. Like I'm beating my flesh into submission. My flesh does not want to exercise right now.
Why did you have to say that?
I'm going to do it.
Why did you have to say that? Hate
You
you.
needed to hear it.
Hate you. I was just telling Meredith that, like, because she just got done doing the rebounding, and I'm sitting there like, well, you're better than me today because I don't really feel like going. I mean, I could go after I get done with this podcast, but because it's literally right down the street. I got the membership card in my pocket,
Yeah.
the electric, and I don't want to. I don't want to. I just want to go home and go to sleep. That's what I want to do. And then you got to say that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
I would also share that aside from sexual sins or anything like that, words that I say, if I don't take 0.2 seconds to think that funny thing that I think is funny in my head or sarcastic comment, if I don't think about that for 0.2 seconds and I just say it, someone will look at me all offended, like I don't know. I'm just thinking something random. If I say like I would say with the boys or with you guys or something like that, and I just say a random comment, just joking around, it's like I don't think that was a little harsh or trying to be sarcastic, but it comes out like I'm beating you down or something like that. I don't have a specific example of that. I'm just throwing that out there. But
I do. I just had one yesterday. I honestly, this is one of my biggest weaknesses is using overly extreme examples to me just almost hyperbole to make sure the point is being illustrated. But to other people, I'm finding they come off very harsh. And the glass company was at one of my job sites yesterday measuring for the glass. And I said, don't we have to have like doesn't the door have to be 24 inches wide so that we can pull a dead guy out of there if he drops? He's like, well, I've never explained it that way, but yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that probably sounds weird from a stranger. Just that's I'm with you, Tanner. That's one of the biggest things God's working on me lately. And not to put words in your mouth, but my extreme examples are not helpful in most cases.
Yeah, I think of the don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth except for that which is beneficial for building up the saints. So I try to be encouraged, even with buddies, try to be encouraging and not so attacking, joking, because that's kind of the thing that guys do. We poke fun at each other for little things, and that's how we bond. And trying to do less of that and more encouraging.
Yep, totally. Well, that hour flew by. It's already 9:03.
Is it really?
I didn't realize it until. So, yeah, we can talk forever about how big a challenge it is to not do what we want to do and to do what we don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I think if we've got any final comments.
No, I'm good. You guys, whoever's watching, if you feel this is valuable to you or you think it might be valuable to someone that you know or love, share the link that you got with them and put it on your social media. And we would really appreciate your help in trying to get the word of God out to as many people as we possibly can. So help us with that, share, like, notify, all that kind of good stuff, all the normal YouTube stuff. And, yeah, if you click the notification, Tanner there, he'll send you out a little notice a little while before we're got to get on air and can remind you, because I know sometimes it gets a little late here and sometimes we get a little sleepy and we don't remember. So his little notification will pop up on your phone and you can join us. So any help would be
and thank you, Moses, for asking the question in the chat about the graphic. You asked me to do that at the beginning, and I started the stream and I started looking at my Bible. I started doing this, and it just went poof out of my brain.
It's all good,
so
dude.
Thank you for.
That's why we have 3 people. Between the 3 of us, we can get something done, right?
Yeah. Make up one complete brain.
Yeah, right. That's it.
What's it I've heard? The military joke: if you have half a Marine's brain, or you take 2 Marines and each have half a brain, you still only have half a brain. Or so, I don't know. My dad was a Marine, so I heard jokes like that all the time. So.
I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure it out.
All right, guys. Well, God bless you all. Thanks for joining us tonight, and join us again right back here, same place, same time, same Bible. Live in the Word. We will see you next week. God bless you. Take care.